Welcome back to Unapologetic Exotical content, where the curls stay hydrated, the mirrors remain fully operational, and the audacity arrives 12 business days before the frontal. Girl, a lace terror-in-chief popped a wheelie, rolled across the ground, jumped back up, handed me the lace like an Olympic baton and said,
"Can you make a video about the obsessive hate Soul is getting for being light-skinned with blonde hair? People are saying she looks white, Republican white, and that she is too light-skinned for that hair. When dark-skinned women stay wearing blonde, that looks off on them."
Girl, of course. I immediately popped a wheelie myself and rolled off into the wind on this mission, curls flying behind me, hydrated, moisturized, and absolutely refusing to mind their business. Because I went into those unhydrated comments, and what did I see? Frontal fumble Felicia, lace lifting Latasha, glue clump Gloria, wig shift Wendy, mustard mane Monique. The entire banana bundle bunch had assembled underneath Soul's video like somebody had announced free toner and complimentary edge control. They were in the comments saying,
"It's really bad. Besides that, I hate it." Absolutely not.
Pause. What is going on with that bird nest arrangement on top of your own head? You have the audacity to critique Soul's hair, while your leave-out is trying to contact the International Space Station. Be serious. Your leave-out has cleared the atmosphere, passed the moon, and is now transmitting weather data back to Earth. Air traffic control is tracking it. Birds are asking it for directions. Satellites are moving out of its way. And the funniest part is, why is the weave the length that leave-out normally is, while the leave-out is the length of the scalp? So you are telling me your weave is leave-out length, your leave-out is scalp length, and your confidence is floor to ceiling? Okay, now I understand. The hair math never lines up. Leave-out pointing at the driver. Wig older than the relationship. Glue weaker than the bend under your lip. That part made a left turn, missed the scalp, and kept going out of pure determination. One woman's part looked like it had gone on a spiritual journey. That part had left home to find itself. It had written the scalp a goodbye letter, packed 3 bundles, and disappeared before sunrise. But she was underneath Soul's video saying,
"A darker blonde, please."
She looks like Natalie Nunn to me.
Another one simply wrote,
"No."
Then they started posting memes from white chicks and saying after she changed the color,
"Better, way better, so tea."
Better? Better than what? Because the Dry Knees Caucus members were typing, better, are never going to personally encounter that word unless it is describing somebody standing next to them. Now let me be clear. I did not care for either wig myself. That is simply my opinion. And my opinion is facts. I am biased because I tear lace regularly, enthusiastically and without remorse. I do not wear lace, and I never plan to wear lace unless somebody catches me in a headlock, drags me into a beauty supply store, and installs it under protest. So yes, I agree that Soul looks better with her natural hair. But the difference is that I am not cosplaying the exact same look she tried, failing miserably, uploading the evidence publicly, and then reporting to her comments as an authority. That is where the contradiction begins. They ran out, bought the same wigs, applied the same questionable blondes, flattened the same frontals, ignored the same undertones, and then formed the hair hat hype circle to yell in each other's comments.
Yes.
Girl, you ate. You devoured.
Nobody ever stops to ask, what exactly was consumed? Because I am looking around the table, and accountability is the only thing missing. They keep telling one another,
"Girl, you ate."
But the plate still has the wig and 3 neck bones on it. And that is exactly why I made my last video. They cannot see themselves in you, and they are furious about it. They can look a mess, but we cannot have one small flaw. They can wear the same struggle every day until it becomes legally recognized as part of the household. But let a stunning woman have one questionable hair day, and suddenly everybody's eyesight returns. Suddenly the shade-match strugglers understand undertones. Suddenly the proudly unblended can identify blending. Suddenly the yellow wig yellers have discovered toner. Suddenly the brass knuckle blondes are experts in color theory. Suddenly the beige ambition society is holding seminars on what does and does not complement a complexion. Girl, please. The least qualified people are always conducting the loudest inspections. They become the hair police while looking like they are auditioning to be the finger that lost a fight with an electrical outlet. They copy the hairstyle, fail, blame the original, repeat. They do it over and over and over again. And somehow, after 17 unsuccessful attempts, they do not conclude,
Maybe this look is not working on me.
no, they conclude,
The original woman must be overrated.
that is a fascinating level of confidence. Not healthy confidence. I am talking about confidence that has survived overwhelming contradictory evidence. Confidence with no references. Confidence that entered through the side door after self-awareness was removed from the building. Because how do you argue in the mirror every morning, lose the argument, open the comments, and still think,
Yes, I should advise somebody today.
at no point do you stop and say,
Wait, let me sit this one out. Maybe I am not the best spokesperson today. Maybe my profile picture disqualifies me. Maybe I should observe quietly. Maybe this is a listening day.
no. They arrive with the confidence of a Supreme Court justice. The internal conversation should have gone like this. Brain, should we post this? Mirror,
Absolutely not.
hair,
Please do not involve us.
profile picture,
I beg your pardon?
leave out,
I am currently outside the jurisdiction.
comment.
Posting.
Every warning system failed. The airbags did not deploy. The emergency brakes were decorative. The mirror sent 37 notifications, and they swiped everyone away. And the profile is public. That is what makes this so astonishing. They are criticizing Soul as though nobody can click their name. Girl, the evidence is attached to the comment. You do not have to search. You do not have to request records. You do not have to call anybody. You just click the circle beside the insult, and there stands Dry Scalp Shaniqua in a banana blonde bundle with a part shaped like a rural highway. That is why I do not think we will ever fully understand the depth of this delusion. It is padded and no stray. They can diagnose everybody else's hair, but somehow their own remains a mystery. They are acting like specialists, while their own reflection is still waiting on test results. They can spot 1 millimeter of somebody else's lace from 3 counties away, but cannot locate the entire emergency happening on top of their own head. That level of selective vision deserves scientific research. And here's the deeper part. They are not always criticizing because something is catastrophically wrong. Sometimes they criticize because they need something to be wrong. Because if the stunning woman actually looks good, their entire belief system begins shaking. The walls crack. The ceiling fans start spinning backwards. The mustard mane mafia starts clutching its bundles. The dry bundle dynasty begins searching for emotional support water. They need the flaw. The flaw is not valuable because it is large. The flaw is valuable because it temporarily narrows the gap. If someone is beautiful, confident, or admired, finding one imperfect detail can make that person seem more ordinary for a moment. So they study, they zoom, they pause, they rewind, they inspect the lighting, they inspect the hair, they inspect the voice, they inspect the chin, they inspect the caption, they inspect whether a shadow moved 2 centimeters between frames. The desperation is not in finding a real problem. The desperation is in finding anything they can announce. That is why I notice the same behavior on YouTube when haters rush into comments yelling,
This is artificial intelligence.
well, duh. It may already be obvious to most people, but they are not pointing it out because they believe nobody noticed. They are pointing it out because they want you to know that they noticed. They want to position themselves as perceptive. They want to place a little crack in your confidence. They want to say,
I found something. I caught something. You did not fool me.
the information itself may be obvious, but announcing it allows them to feel like they have interrupted the presentation. It is the same with Soul's wig. Maybe the wig was not her best. Fine. But the emotional investment in announcing it is the giveaway. Because they did not calmly say,
I prefer her natural hair.
no. They brought memes. They wrote paragraphs. They posted reaction pictures. They rushed back when she changed the wig to announce,
Better.
that word better is important. Because when somebody changes something after your comment, it creates a small feeling of influence. The satisfaction becomes,
She listened. I affected her. I made her change.
whether the change improved anything becomes secondary. The emotional reward is knowing your comment reached her. It is a small transfer of power. That is the trap. They point out something small. You become self-conscious. You change it. They return and say,
Much better.
now you are relieved to receive approval from the same person who created the insecurity. And the next time they criticize something, you may listen again, not realizing that they are not necessarily guiding you toward your best. They may simply be soothing themselves by proving they can move you. I used to be vulnerable to that. People would ask me why I wore my hair the same way. They would say,
You should switch it up. Try something different. Add some razzle-dazzle.
and I listened. I flat-ironed my hair. Some of my curls became a little looser afterward. Do you see what happened there? They did not have to improve themselves. They only had to make me question what was already working for me. That is how the knockdown works. They do not have to become more beautiful. They just need you to become slightly less certain. And let us be honest again. They were not necessarily wrong that Soul's wig looked off. The contradiction is not that they saw the flaw. The contradiction is in their own reflection and in the reflections of the women they hype. Because they all wear similar wigs. They wear blondes that do not complement their complexion. They wear frontals that don't match anything but the receipt. They wear lace that has entered the chat before they do. They wear leave-out that has separated from the hairstyle over irreconcilable differences. Then they fill one another's comments with compliments. So when they identify the same issue on Soul, they are not revealing a standard. They are revealing that the standard only activates when the woman is stunning. They can look a mess, but we cannot. I have spoken before about how their struggle is expected. They have looked the same way for so long that their flaws have become background scenery. Nobody gasps. Nobody calls an emergency meeting. Nobody asks what happened. It is simply another Tuesday at the dry scalp delegation. Their friends judge them relative to their usual level. So if the wig is slightly less sideways than it was last week, everybody screams,
Improvement. Yes. Growth. She did that.
but a stunning woman is judged against her peak. They are asking,
Does she look as good as she normally does?
they are not asking,
Does she still look better than me?
that second question is too painful, so they avoid it. They compare Soul to her best version while comparing themselves to their baseline. She is graded against her highest level. They are graded against whatever happened yesterday. They judge themselves by how close they came to their best. They judge her by how far she fell from hers. That allows them to criticize a woman who may still look better than them overall because she temporarily dropped below her personal standard, not below theirs. And that brings us to the real gag. The flaw they found was the flaw of Soul imitating their look. The wig looking off. The same thing they do every single solitary day. They are trying to say,
She entered our lane and she failed.
girl, you fail every day trying to enter ours. They believe they are masters of wigs because wigs are what they rely on to create their completed presentation. The hairstyle gives them one category where they can declare themselves authorities. They think,
I wear wigs every day, so I am qualified to judge wigs.
no, frequency is not mastery. Wearing something every day while repeatedly installing it poorly does not make you an expert. It only makes you extremely experienced in repeating the same mistake. You do not have a master's degree from Frontal State University. You have perfect attendance. Those are not the same thing. They know what a lifted frontal looks like. They know what mismatched lace looks like. They know what the wrong blonde looks like. Because they encounter those problems daily. But instead of that familiarity producing humility, it produces confidence. They think,
I immediately recognize the crime scene. Therefore, I must be above it.
no ma'am. Sometimes you recognize the scenery because you live there. The problem is that stunning women usually do not publicly critique them. We see the wigs. We see the bundles. We see the bead tuck evangelist delivering sermons beneath a roof of synthetic testimony. We see frontal fumble Felicia and wig shift Wendy standing shoulder to shoulder under a ring light that is working harder than anybody in the room. But we remain quiet. We have to stutter stunning through our moisturized teeth to prevent fishy Felicia from giving us a mink. So we do not enter their comments saying,
Girl, please reconsider.
we do not post memes. We do not rush back after they change the wig and announce,
Better.
we let them enjoy their day. But because nobody corrects them, they assume,
Nobody said my hair looked bad because it looked good.
no, you are not undefeated. Nobody agreed to enter the tournament. Silence is not confirmation. Sometimes silence is compassion. Sometimes silence is restraint. Sometimes silence is somebody staring at the screen, slowly setting the phone down and choosing peace. Their friend's praise is also collective self-protection. Admitting that one member of the hair hat hype circle looks a mess could force everybody else to reconsider their own reflection. So they protect the group's shared standard. They have an unspoken agreement.
I will pretend your lace disappeared today if you pretend my leave out did not apply for its own zip code tomorrow. I will call your banana bundle platinum if you call my mustard mane honey blonde. I will ignore the 7 inches between your frontal and your eyebrows if you ignore the fact that my wig rotates every time I blink.
Their compliments are not always evaluations. Sometimes they are mutual immunity. That is why they praise chronic flaws among themselves, but magnify one temporary flaw on a stunning woman. A woman who looks a mess every day is not an exciting discovery. Everyone is accustomed to it. The struggle becomes part of the visual environment. But a stunning woman having one imperfect hair day feels like an event. It is rare. It is noticeable. And to someone who resents the gap between herself and that woman, it can feel emotionally rewarding. They are not just reviewing hair. They are celebrating a perceived demotion. But here is where their entire argument collapses. Their criticism amounts to,
Girl, you look like us now. Fix it.
that should be devastating. Because according to them, stunning women are not all that. According to them, mixed women, lighter-skinned women, and head-to-toe triple-threat stunners are overrated. According to them, they look just as good, sometimes better. Soul is not a full head-to-toe triple-threat stunner exotical in my personal opinion. And my opinion is correct. She is a chin-to-toe exotical with a chin that has requested separate representation. But the point remains. The moment she put on a wig that resembled what the blonde mismatch mob regularly wears, everybody immediately recognized a decline. Now it was,
Take that off. Go darker. Your natural hair look better.
That color does not look right on you at all.
this wig I generated with artificial intelligence is way better. Wait, why is looking more like you an emergency? Why does resembling your everyday presentation require immediate correction? If your appearance were truly equal, her resembling you would simply be viewed as another attractive option. Nobody would panic. Nobody would post memes. Nobody would act like she needed to report to the nearest mirror before nightfall. Instead, they reacted as though she had fallen from a great height. Because she had. She briefly moved closer to their styling level, and even they recognized it as a downgrade. They are using their own appearance as the insult. They are essentially saying,
She looked better before she started looking more like us.
that is the confession. They desperately deny that she occupies a higher beauty level, while loudly announcing that she dropped in quality when she resembled them. Their mouths say,
We look just as good.
their comments say,
Please stop looking like us.
their compliments to each other say,
This is the best version of what we know how to do.
their criticism of Soul says,
But it is beneath you.
that is jealousy wrapped inside hair advice. Because if the same wig is an achievement on them but a tragedy on her, then they already understand the ranking. Their celebrated ceiling is her disappointing Tuesday. What they call
You ate.
on one another becomes
Remove that immediately.
when it appears on a chin-to-toe exotical woman. That means their best is being treated as her decline. And even when we wear the mess they wear, we still wear it better. That is what really burns. The wig was supposed to be the equalizer. They thought that once a semi-striking woman wore the crusty frontal, questionable blonde, mismatched tone, and compressed hairline they celebrate every day, she would finally collapse into their category. But she did not. She looked worse for her. She did not look worse than them. That distinction demolishes the celebration. They saw her drop from her personal best and confused that with her dropping below them. She may have fallen several floors, but they are still standing in the basement cheering because they heard footsteps. Her downgrade is still above their upgrade. Her off day is still competing with their special occasion. She borrowed their hair problem, wore their blueprint of mess, and still did not descend far enough for them to win. Yes, they possess the blueprint. The blueprint of what? A mess. They are the original architects of looking tore-up estates. They built the foundation with visible lace, installed the roof with lifting leave-out, painted the walls banana blonde, then stood outside Soul's house saying her construction was not up to code. Girl, your blueprint is written in glue residue. Whenever we follow that blueprint, the Frontal Federalists immediately say,
Go back.
That is not you. Something looks different.
Why? Because the mess does not naturally belong to the rest of our presentation. It looks like a temporary visitor. On them, the mess has mail delivered there. It has joined the neighborhood group chat. It has been parking in the same spot for 6 business years. On a stunning woman, the mismatch becomes obvious because the rest of her appearance is still communicating beauty. Her face, skin, body, and overall presence are saying one thing, while the hair has wandered into the video saying something else. That contradiction makes the wig stand out more. A mess on a mess is simply a mess. A mess sitting on top of obvious beauty is a contradiction. The hair is not supporting the rest of the presentation, so everybody notices. With the women they hype, there may be no widely recognized better version for the audience to demand. So the current look receives applause as the completed project. But when Soul wears that same styling level, everybody knows she has another version available. They know she can look better. They know the natural hair elevates her. They know this wig lowered the presentation. And by admitting that, they admit something else. Resembling them was the downgrade. They say they are the standard, but their reaction says otherwise. They deny that she is above them, yet they identify movement toward their look as evidence that she has fallen. Either their look is equally attractive, in which case resembling them should not be considered a decline, or resembling them is a decline, in which case they have accidentally placed themselves beneath the version of her they resent. They cannot have both. And even after the decline, she still did not land where they are. That is why they are not satisfied with,
That wig was not her best.
they need.
She looks terrible.
Because, not her best, leaves open the painful truth that her reduced level may still remain above theirs. They want credit for identifying the fall without discussing where she landed. And where she landed is still above the place from which they are shouting. They do not want to ask.
Does she still look better than me?
They want to ask.
Does she look worse than she normally does?
Because the first question restores the full comparison. The second question allows them to celebrate one temporary flaw. That is pure jealousy. They tolerate, celebrate, and repeatedly wear the same flaw themselves, but become excited when it appears once on a woman they resent. The flaw is not what excites them. The temporary demotion is what excites them. They need her mistake to mean that the hierarchy disappeared. They need the wrong wig to cancel the face, the features, the body, the skin, the presence, and everything else they already know is working. But it does not. The wig may interrupt the package. It does not erase the package. They isolate the hair because the rest of her refuses to cooperate with the insult. They finally found one thing, and they are waving it around like they won a championship. Meanwhile, the woman they are criticizing is still standing there looking like a semi-striking woman who chose the wrong wig. And they are still standing there looking like somebody yelled, "Febreze!" halfway through the hairstyle. So yes, Soul changed the hair. Yes, I personally prefer her natural cut. Yes, the other wig may have complemented her slightly better, although they both look a mess. But the real gag was never that the first wig did not flatter her. The real gag is that she briefly resembled the women criticizing her, and even they unanimously agreed that was a downgrade. They exposed the flaw in the wig, but they also exposed the truth about themselves. They know exactly what the downgrade looks like because they are wearing the blueprint. And even when we borrow the blueprint, install the struggle, wear the mess, miss the mark, and fall below our own standard. Their finish line is where our downfall begins. You have survived another dose of unapologetic exotical content. Stay glowing, stay knowing. And before you advise anybody else's hair, please make sure your own leave-out has safely returned from orbit.